here in about 5 minutes. We're going to do a couple of housekeeping items and some announcements here while the rest are arriving. There are already many people on the line, so hopefully you have your audio up and can listen to a few little exciting things that are coming up. So as a reminder, if you've never joined us for a Crown Council webinar before, you're in listen-only mode. That means that you should be able to hear me, but we cannot hear you, so that we can eliminate the background noise and everyone can listen without any problems. During the webinar, you're welcome to submit any questions that you have. In your control panel, there's a question bar, and you can just type in your question, and we will take those questions after the formal presentation's over, and we'll go through those in kind of first come, first serve order. So a couple of announcements today coming up, a lot of exciting stuff going on in the Crown Council world. As all of you know, the Crown Council annual event is coming up next month, January 30th, which is Thursday, through Saturday, February 1st, 2014 in Dallas, Texas. It is going to be big and a lot of great things that are planned. Just as a couple of reminders, on Thursday, January 30th from 8 to noon, we're going to have a No More Hygiene alumni roundtable session with Dr. Tommy Neighbors and members of the Total Patient Service team. And Dr. Neighbors is going to present some updated clinical findings as well as some cases that he's working on. And we'll have an opportunity for alumni to share what they're doing to implement modular periodontal therapy. So if you and your team are alumni of the No More Hygiene program, you are welcome to join us, and you can do that if you have not registered yet. You can call the Total Patient Service at the 800 number on the bottom of your screen, 877-399-8677, and make sure you're registered for that event on Thursday, January 30th in Dallas, Texas. Later that afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m., Thursday, January 30th, is going to be our first official Crown Council annual event session. This has become a tradition to have kind of a pre-event session. This is an exclusive team session that everyone is invited to attend. It is part of the annual event, so if you're registered for the event, you are registered to attend this as well. And so we highly recommend that you attend this. It's going to be have some great skills and information that you can use every day in your practice and in your community, with a little bit of celebrity action that we're going to have included. So we're excited to roll this out. So we hope you'll join us for that. Then later that evening, Thursday, January 30th at 7:30 p.m. at the Majestic Theater in downtown Dallas, we'll have our Smiles for Life benefit concert. This is a separate ticketed event, so make sure that you have your tickets for this event. We've got a lineup of some great Texas country music artists that are going to share a great evening with us. We bought out the Majestic Theater and looking forward to having an amazing kickoff. All the proceeds will benefit Smiles for Life and a local effort that we're doing here in Dallas-Fort Worth. So those are just a couple of reminders about everything that's going on at the annual event. If by chance you have not registered for the annual event, call the Crown Council office, or you can go online at crowncouncil.org under annual event for all the information. A lot of fun stuff going on there, and we have a lineup of programming and presenters that is going to be one of the best packed events, packed with great information that we've had in the now nearly 20 years that we've been doing the Crown Council annual event. So I'm very excited about that. Again, welcome. We're getting ready to get started with our webinar today. those of you that are arriving, you're in listen-only mode. We'll get started here shortly. Final announcement is the Smiles for Life campaign 2014 is right around the corner. You'll be receiving some information about that shortly in the mail, so keep your eyes out for that. If your team has never done Smiles for Life, now's the time to do it. We have some exciting new additions for 2014 that are going to add some additional fuel to a great campaign that's raised over $33 million over the last 15 years for children's charities all over the world. So hope you'll join us for that. So with that, we're going to get started with our webinar here shortly. You're in listen-only mode. Again, you can ask questions at any time by putting those questions in the question bar. We're going to pause here shortly to get started. This webinar today will be recorded and will be posted on the Crown Council website at crowncouncil.org. So with that, we're going to pause for about 30 seconds and we'll get started. Good day, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for our special Crown Council webinar, Why Case Presentations Fail. This is Steve Anderson, and I'm excited to be with you today, and we've had an unprecedented response to today's topic, so we're very excited to get started and share what we've put together today. Just by way of a little bit of background, this presentation today was the brainchild of Dr. Jeff Gray. You're all familiar with Jeff. He's been a big part of the Crown Council and all of our training and our dental seminars that we've done over the years. And Jeff called me a month or two ago and asked if I would put together a presentation that really talked about the real focus of what we should be focused on every day with our patients and why case presentations get derailed. We did this presentation recently for the Kois Center and all their alumni with huge response, and we've invited some of them to join us again, and so we're very excited to share this with you today. So what's in store here are 3 very important natural laws, 6 very important reasons that your patients decide to move ahead with treatment, and some specific things that you and your team can do to improve your case acceptance results. One of the things that I'll share with you that we're seeing across the country, our team at the Total Patient Service Institute is in offices almost every day. Our practice advisor team today is in offices all over the country implementing the systems and the ideas and techniques that we develop. And one of the things that we're finding today is that it's even more important today to be on top of your game in terms of case presentation and helping your patients accept treatment. There is a definite shift that is underway in America with 10,000 people a day turning 65. We are well into the aging of the baby boomer generation, and their focus and the things that they're worried about is changing, and we need to change with it. So the things that we'll share today, we hope will help get everybody focused on the right things and provide some topics for conversation that you and your team can discuss and take a look at as you move to continually improve your case presentation results. Again, anytime during the webinar that you have a question, you can type it in the question bar in your control panel, and we will address those questions near the end of the presentation. So all of you that have been with me before, of course, are very familiar with the fact that I'm a big believer in natural laws. And natural laws are what run everything. Very different from rules. People make rules, and rules, of course, are made to be broken. Whereas natural laws are made by God or nature, and you can't break a natural law. You don't break it, it breaks you. And so typically what we do on a daily basis in most organizations, especially in a dental practice, is we look at our results. And when we want to improve our results, then we look at the tactics or actions that we're engaging in every day to get those results. And if we're not getting the right ones, then we'll usually change the action to change the result. Every once in a while, we'll engage in some strategic planning, where we'll talk about where the organization's going overall and put some strategies in place. And every once in a while, we talk about what we believe in and what our values are, but rarely do we talk about the natural laws that are really the foundation of why things work the way they do. And so in all of our training that we do at the Total Patient Service Institute, we always tie everything back to natural laws. In other words, what is the foundational principle or law upon which we are building to get the result that we're looking for? So we always start with the foundation and then build the beliefs, the strategies, the actions on top of those natural laws in order to get the result that we're looking for. And today will be no different. We're going to start with 3 natural laws that we will talk about that are running the practice and running your case presentations every day. The first natural law is what I call the law of focus. The law of focus says that whatever it is that we focus on expands. What we focus on expands. So whatever we choose to look at, whatever we choose to talk about, whatever we choose to think about expands. We learned this as little kids when we looked through the magnifying glass. Whatever it was that we looked at through that magnifying glass expanded. It almost became larger than life. In fact, all of us had the experience at least once where we focused the rays of the sun on a piece of paper or something else that was flammable, and we discovered very quickly that you can focus the rays of the sun and create fire. And that fire, if you're not careful, can get pretty big. So what we focus on expands. So in the context of case presentations and what your team focuses on every day, the first question really is, what is it that we're focused on? When you have your morning meeting every day and you have your discussions about what's going to happen today, what is the balance of that discussion? Is that discussion about procedures and teeth and production and numbers and collection, or is that more focused on patients and your concern for them? So what is it that you focus on when you have that morning meeting? What is your focus? Because whatever it is will get bigger. You will focus more and more of your time, effort, and energy on whatever it is that you choose to focus on. The second natural law and we're going to combine all these natural laws in just a minute, but the next natural law is what I call the law of reason. And the law of reason says that people buy for their reasons, not for your reasons. With a lot of education, especially in dental school, we have a lot of scientific clinical reasons why people should accept treatment, why they should have the work done that you've diagnosed and prescribed and recommended. The challenge with that is their reasons are usually not your reasons. They have their own reasons. Now, those of you that have been with us in the Total Immersion course that we do at the Total Patient Service Institute will be familiar with their reasons, because we talk about what those reasons are. Here's a summary of the 6 basic reasons that patients accept treatment. And they're rarely the reasons that you recommend treatment, but here they are. A lot of people will accept or, frankly, reject treatment based on money concerns. Do they see that the recommended treatment will save them money today or save them money in the future? Or do they believe that doing nothing at all and not getting the treatment today will save them money now or in the future. These reasons work both ways. They're like a double-edged sword. Another reason is appearance or self-esteem. Do they believe that accepting treatment will enhance how they look, how they feel about themselves, how other people see them, and their social standing? So self-esteem and appearance is one of their reasons. Next is time. People many times will accept treatment because it will save them time now or in the future. It might save them time from having an emergency or something unpleasant or unexpected happen now or in the future. But time today has become the most valuable resource that people have. When you think about it, 30 or 40 years ago, we would spend our time to save money. We'd do our own lawn, we would do our own laundry, we would do our own cooking. Today, we spend our money to save time. That's why fast food and restaurants have expanded at an exponential rate. We'll go for takeout many times to save time so we won't have to fix dinner. We take our clothes to the laundry. We have somebody come fix the yard. We have somebody that changes our oil. We spend our money to save time. So time ends up being a huge consideration for many people. Trust or peace of mind. People accept treatment or reject treatment based on what we call the big T, big trust. Do they have enough trust in you more than maybe a previous practitioner who made a recommendation that they didn't accept, or maybe they're here because they didn't trust someone else and they want to trust you? Or do they have the confidence in the treatment that's being recommended that they will have the peace of mind of knowing that they're making the right decision? So trust becomes a major reason. Comfort. Is it going to be more comfortable because of the decision that they're going to make? Having someone accept treatment that's in pain today, of course, is that usually is a lot easier versus talking to somebody about what the potential might be down the road. So comfort is a major reason, either comfort now, getting into more comfort now, or comfort in the future becomes a major reason that patients accept treatment. Health or quality of life. This is quickly rising to be one of the top reasons that patients accept treatment. Now, I would say that for many people, if you look back 10 to 15 years ago, if you had to rank order these, appearance would probably be very close to the top of the list. When we were going through the cosmetic boom in dentistry, appearance was very, very important to a lot of people. As the population ages, health and quality of life is very rapidly ascending to the top of the priority list, or the top of the reasons that people accept treatment. So these aren't necessarily in any priority order. They're just the 6 top reasons that patients accept treatment. So as you look through those 6 reasons that patients accept treatment, I'd like you to contrast that to a different mindset. And this really summarizes this 3rd law that you're all familiar with, because I've talked about this incessantly for the last 20 years, which is the law of emotion. And of course, the law of emotion says we buy and make decisions emotionally, and then we follow that emotional decision with some type of logic to justify why we've made that decision. Now, so you make decisions emotionally, you justify them with logic. Now, I'm going to go back real quick. When you look at their reasons, all of those reasons have emotional triggers. Money, there's probably nothing more emotional that people get about than their money. Appearance, very emotional thing. Time and wasting time, very emotional. Trust is an emotion. Comfort has everything to do with emotion. And health, of course, while it might be science involved, definitely has a lot to do with emotion. So all of those reasons are emotionally based. We make decisions emotionally. we justify them with logic. You'll all remember my example of if you want proof that we make decisions emotionally and we justify those emotional decisions with logic, just go watch shopping behavior. Most people make their shopping decisions emotionally, and then they justify that emotional decision for days and weeks and months afterwards, the reason that they made the purchase that they did. Now, here's my question. You have those three natural laws. The law of focus, whatever we focus on expands. The law of reason, that we make decisions for our reasons, not someone else's reasons. Your patients make their decisions for their reasons, not for your reasons. And the law of emotion. People make decisions emotionally, and they justify that emotional decision with logic. Now, if you'll take all three of those natural laws, focus, reason, and emotion, let's take a look at what's really going on every day with every patient when they walk into your treatment room. Here's a model. We talked about the law of focus. What you focus on expands. So you walk into the treatment room with that what on your mind, with what you're focusing on. And usually when you walk in the treatment room, what you're focused on is teeth. After all, you're a dentist, you're a dental team, and you're there to focus on people's teeth. Now contrast that to the patient who walks in, and it's their want that they're focused on. So your focus and the patient's focus are totally different, and they don't correlate. So one of the biggest reasons that case presentations fail is because of the law of focus. You are focused on the what, you're focused on the teeth. The patient is focused on the want, on what they want. And usually the thing that they want is not the what that you're focused on. And so there's a total disconnect when you start talking about the what and the teeth and the clinical condition and doing your clinical exam. That has very little, if anything, to do with what they want and their reason. They do things for their reasons, for their emotional reasons, not for your what, for the thing that you are focused on. So when you look at those three laws, that's my first question is, when you walk into the treatment room and you see that patient, what are you focused on? If your objective is to do the complete exam, then your what is their teeth. You're focused on their teeth, and that gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you talk about teeth and disease and cavities and veneers, and you talk about your what. Meanwhile, the patient is focused on their want, and it's a total disconnect. So what we're trying to achieve is trying to find some place where your what, or what you're focused on, merges in some way, shape, or form with their want. So what you know how to do, if a patient accepts treatment, what you know how to do has to connect with something that they want and a reason that they want it. That's where the merger has to take place. So let's take for example, let's take when someone comes in for a cleaning, what do they really want? What's their want? Well, I got to tell you, they don't want clean teeth. That's what you're going to do for them. That's the what. That's what you do for them, is you clean their teeth. But what they really want is they want fresh breath so that they're not embarrassed in front of their peers or someone close to them. They want peace of mind of knowing they're doing the right thing for their health. They may want relief from guilt because mother told them they needed to go to the dentist every 6 months or every year and get their teeth cleaned. That's what they want. If you're there just cleaning teeth, that's what you do. That's not what they want. They want something for their reason, and they want something because of something emotional behind it. So the next patient that you see today that's coming in for their routine hygiene visit, what do they want? They don't want clean teeth. That's what you're going to do, but that's not what they want. So what is it that they want? What is their want? Here's the next one. How about somebody who comes in and they want white teeth? Now, is white teeth what they really want? No, they don't want white teeth. They want what the white teeth will give them. That might be a promotion. The white teeth might be a second date. It might be social acceptance. It might be the ability to smile again because they've been so embarrassed about their yellow teeth they haven't wanted to smile. So what do they want? They don't want whitening. They want what the whitening will do for them, what it will give them emotionally. How about straight teeth? Is that what they want? People don't want straight teeth. They want what the straight teeth will give them. That's what we do. That's the what we do. We straighten it. That's not what they want. They want the ability to smile and people admire their teeth. They want social acceptance. They may want comfort. Everyone has a different want, but the what we do is very different than the reason that they want it, and their reason they want it is their reason, not our reason. So again, here's what people want in these categories. They want to save money. They want better appearance and self-esteem. They want to save time. They want peace of mind. They want comfort or better function, and they want better quality health, a better quality of life. Those are the reasons that people want what they want. So here's our job, as you all know, is before we get into the what we do, we have to ask what they want, what it is that they're actually looking for. You're all familiar with this very famous scriptural verse, ask and you'll receive, seek and you'll find, knock and the door will be open. The key is to ask. Ask up front so you truly understand what they want. Again, before you can prescribe, you have to diagnose, and to diagnose, you have to ask. And the law of reason, again, people buy for their reasons, not for your reasons. So you have to ask. So here are some suggestions as reminders of the things that we need to be asking early on in the patient relationship. So for example, on the phone, if I'm looking for the patient's want, then one of the questions I'm going to ask is, what's the biggest reason that you called today? The emphasis being on today. Why not yesterday? Why not the day before? Why not last month? What's the biggest reason you called today? In other words, what do you want today? I want to know their reason, what's going on, especially if it has to do with something emotional, because it's always something emotional. What's the most important thing to you about your smile? Again, I'm looking for their emotional reasons. Now that, I love this question because I'm not asking them what they want to change about their smile. I'm not necessarily asking them what they like about their smile, but people will hear this question based on what's on their mind, what they want. What's the most important thing to you about your smile? A lot of people will respond to this question and say, well, the most important thing about my smile is that I'm able to smile, and I want to be able to smile without being embarrassed. Or the most important thing to be about my smile is I want to keep my teeth because my grandmother lost hers and I saw the pain and the suffering she went through, and I don't ever want to go through that. In other words, that's a real key question that needs to be asked up front that is very general, that people hear it based on what's on their mind. What's the most important thing we can do for you today? So when they're in the office, one of the most important things we can find out is, what's their objective for today? What's the most important thing we can do for you today? What do you want today? And, or how about this? If we could do anything for you today, what would it be? If we could do anything for you today, what would it be? Now, again, the thing I love about these questions is people hear them the way they're thinking about them based on the want that's on their mind. When we ask the right questions and they're phrased appropriately, then people will tell you the want that's on their mind. So that becomes the whole key, as you all know, is every step along the way, we want to make sure that we've got their want in mind. So when the phone rings, when the patient walks in the door, when the patient sits down in the treatment room and sits in the chair, the question on everybody's mind should be, how can I help this person get what he or she wants? I'm there not to do a complete exam and take x-rays and update the medical history. Those are things, those are the whats we do. But our first job is to find out what they want. How can I help them get what they want? Because that merges our what with their want. So that's step number one as a reminder. Now, let's take this another step further, and here's what it is. Once I know the wants, what people want, then when I merge that with their why, then I have a magic combination. That is the fuel that fires acceptance. Not just knowing what they want, but why they want it. It's one thing to want white teeth because it'll make me better looking and I'll feel more confident about myself. But it's even more important to know that the why is because someone made a rude or degrading comment about my smile 3 years ago, and I don't ever want anybody to say that again. Or, like we just mentioned previously, it's one thing for someone to say, I don't ever want to lose my teeth because I want the comfort and the health that goes with having good dental health. That's the want. But understanding why they want it, understanding that they had a grandfather or grandmother, someone they were close to that lost their teeth, and they observed the pain and the agony they went through, and they don't ever want to go through that. That's their why. Or how about someone who comes in that says, I want my teeth whitened? Easy enough, because I want to look as good as my girlfriends. Female patient, true story. And then the truth comes out. The why is that when they go out together, this particular young lady always felt inferior to her friends and didn't feel like she was keeping up. And so that whitening turned into veneers. So understanding what someone wants is important. Understanding why they want it is even more powerful. So this is a word picture that we have fallen in love with. You're all familiar with M&Ms. Now I'll give you a little trivia about M&Ms. M&Ms were an invention during World War I. The War Department went to the Mars brothers, Mars and Mars, M&M, and asked them if they would come up with a snack that would not melt out on the battlefield. So they went to work and designed the M&M. Melts in your mouth, not in your hand. So we have for years used the M&M as the construct for a word picture to remind us that most patients are like an M&M. They have a hard shell on the outside, and if we ask the right questions and develop the right kind of relationship, we can break past that hard outer shell and get into the creamy milk chocolate in the middle to find out what they want. And as in most cases, as in most M&Ms today, if we ask the right questions, we can even break through to the next level to find out what it is, the reason that they want, the why behind their want, whether that's peanut or pretzel or mint or whatever that inside flavor might be. That's kind of the progression. Hard shell on the outside, I just want a cleaning. The chocolate is the want. I want that cleaning because I want health. I want peace of mind. I want relief from my guilt. That's my want. And then the why is because, well, my mother said I needed to get my teeth cleaned every 6 months, and I got to stay on track because I made a commitment. So from the what to the want to the why, that's the progression that we're working for. Is not just to take at face value the hard shell on the outside, but find out what they want and find out why they want it. Again, from what to why, from what to want to why. So how do you find that out? How do you find the why? Well, it's all based on what we call their story. Everyone has a story, and it's those stories that we tell ourselves over and over and over again that create our why. Just like the stories that I just told you for the last few minutes from different people. The stories that people tell themselves create their why. So here's a couple of suggestions of follow-up questions that you can ask to find their why. So what would having, so if somebody says, you know, I'd like white teeth because, you know, I'll feel a lot better about myself if I had white teeth. And you would follow up by saying, well, what would having white teeth do for you? What would feeling better about yourself do for you? Ask the not so obvious follow-up question to find their why. Here's another one. How would that make you feel? So if you could whiten your teeth and you could be as, you know, feel like you're competing with your girlfriends, how would that make you feel? Again, I'm applying the law of emotion. What is it that's, what is the emotion that's behind what they're trying to accomplish? If we could do that for you, how would things be different for you? If we could help you keep your teeth so you'd be comfortable and you'd have the good health that good teeth give to you, how would things be different for you? Or how would that be important for you? Or how about this? What's the most important thing to you about keeping your teeth? What's the most important thing to you about whitening your teeth? Or how about this? Something as simple as what's the most important thing to you about having your teeth cleaned on a regular basis? Again, that's a generic question that people will hear differently based on what's on their mind. What's the most important thing to you about what you want? So those are some suggestions of questions that go beyond the want to find the what. What would having that do for you? How would that make you feel? If we could do that for you, how would things be different? What's the most important thing to you about that thing that you want? And all those things help you find the why. So again, from the what to the want to the why. So here's the progression, is once you find their why, then you're always going to lead with their why. Once you've developed that kind of relationship, because the why is their ultimate reason for wanting what you're going to do. So once they share the why with you, you'll lead with that as the primary reason that you're going to do with them what you've recommended. Let me give you just one that's become a really simple example of this that happened not too long ago. This is a pizza. And this is an example of a patient who came in who had some significant work that needed to be done. And so the team went through the progression of talking about, first they talked about, you know, he shared with them the what. He had some bridges that needed to be replaced. He had some teeth that needed some work. Those were the things. And then they asked, you know, what would having those things do for you? And he said, well, you know, it would make life a lot more comfortable. These are, you know, the way things are now, it's very uncomfortable. It's very difficult to go out to eat. It makes things very difficult socially. And so that would make a big difference. That's why I want these. And then they followed up by saying, how would your life be different if we were able to do this for you? And his response was pizza. Pizza would be different. And he talked about how his friends, some of his closest friends, went out for pizza on a regular basis. And because of his dental condition, he wasn't able to enjoy pizza with his friends and always had to have a salad or something. And he said, you know, that's, as silly as that sounds, that would be the biggest difference in my life, is having pizza. So the only thing this team talked about from that point moving forward was, guess what? They talked about pizza. They didn't talk about crowns and bridges and veneers and the science and margins and shade matching. That's what they did, but they stayed focused on the patient's why, that he wanted that change in his dental health so he could have the social acceptance with his friends, so he could eat pizza right along with them. That was his why. And they led with that why all the way through treatment, to the point that on the seat date, as the final touch, after he looked at himself in the mirror, after everything was done and he loved his smile, they presented him in the treatment room with his favorite flavor of pizza, his why. So that's just one example of many of of that progression. So here's again, the concept is that what people want is more powerful than what we do. It's not about crowns, veneers, bridges, periotherapy. It's not about that. It's what do they really want? Their why they want it, is more powerful than their want. So yeah, we want to figure out what they want, but why they want it is even more important than that. And you have to ask for the why. It's not visible. People don't necessarily come forth with this. You have to build the trust, and you have to ask for their why to move forward. And then, of course, from that point forward, you lead with their why. Every step along the way, you're going to lead with that as the primary reason that they are doing what they're doing. Now, with that concept, we've employed all three of those laws. Law of focus, we are focused on what they want and why they want it. The law of reason, people buy for their reasons, not for your reasons. So we're staying focused on their reason. And the law of emotion, people make decisions emotionally, and we justify that emotional decision with logic. So we focus on the why, which is the emotion. We're always able to provide the logic. We can provide that with all the science and all the reasons, but that's the progression, is the why is the emotion, the want is the reason, and of course the focus, that's the thing that has to be watched every step along the way, is what's our focus and what are we really focused on? Are we focused on teeth, or are we focused on what they want and why they want it? So just a couple of reminders. Now here's a suggestion for this. This hopefully has not been a news flash to anyone. I hope that as we've gone through this, you've been reminded of some things that you already know, that you've said, I know that, I need to do a better job of doing it. And the doing starts in your morning meeting every day. What you choose to focus on in the morning meeting will determine the focus of the day. So for example, as you're going through your patients for the day, instead of talking about procedures and production, why not talk about patients and what you think they want? Mrs. Jones is coming in today for her first visit in our office. She hasn't been to the dentist in 5 years because she had a horrible experience in her last practice, and what she wants and what she's looking for is a dentist she can trust, that she has full confidence and faith in. And so it's our job to create that environment. Start talking about patients, not about procedures. Start talking about what patients want, not production. All of those things will follow when the focus is appropriate, when the focus is on what they want and why they want it. Second thing is practice the questions that we talked about today. Have a discussion about what kinds of questions you really ask your patients on the phone and in the treatment room, at their continuing care visits. What are the questions that you're asking to stay plugged into what they want and why they want it? And then lead with the why every step along the way. All right, with that, we're going to take some questions, and I will address these kind of in order. First off, the webinar is recorded and will be posted on crowncouncil.org here today. Shortly, you can just go into the training tab under webinars, and it'll be posted there so that you can go back and remember. So here's, see, I'm not sure I understand this question. So let me take the next question. I may come back to that. So here's the next question, which is, what if the patient's not forthcoming about what they really want? So let me give you the toughest case scenario. It's maybe the guy who comes in to get his teeth cleaned, and he discloses nothing. In fact, you can tell from his body language that he does not want to be there. So here's a principle. Sometimes you have to listen with your eyes. You have to listen with your eyes, and just based on the body language alone, you could say to this particular guy, just feed back to him what you see and say, Steve, would I be safe in guessing that you do not want to be here? I'm looking for his want. So why is he here? If he doesn't want to be here, there's a reason that he is here. So I'd say, make it safe in saying you don't want to be here. And I'll say, that's exactly right. And then there's nothing wrong with saying, all right, so it sounds like you're here for a reason other than something you wanted to do. Tell me about your reason. And he might say, well, she sent me. She being his wife or his girlfriend or whatever. So then what does he want? He wants to keep her happy. So then it's, all right, Steve, sounds like our job together then is to make her happy, keep her off your back. So let's work together to get you in and out of here as fast as we can and keep her happy. How does that sound? Now I've got what he wants and we're on the same page together, and he's all mine, right? Because we've discovered the want and the why that he wants it. The other one that really brings this out, and most of you I know are using this, and this is just a reminder, but one of the most overlooked case acceptance tools in dentistry is the dental health history form. We know that because when we do chart audits in practices, most practices have some type of a whitening question on their dental health history form. And then when we see that a patient has checked that they want whitening, then we go into the chart and see if whitening was treatment planned. Overwhelmingly, it never has. So it begs the question, if they said on their form that they wanted whitening, but it wasn't treatment planned, why wasn't it treatment planned? Well, because nobody looked at the form. Our favorite two questions for the dental health history form are, as you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the most, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is your dental health to you? And question number 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your current dental health or smile? So first one is, how important is your health to you, scale of 1 to 10, and how would you rate your current health? That opens up a whole dialogue about how much they value their dental health and how they rate their current condition, and helps you have a whole dialogue about what they want and why they want it, why it's important to them. Here's the next question is, how do you deal with patients that have massive fear? So fear is based on one of two things, either previous bad experience or stories that they've heard from other people. So massive fear, first rule is get them out of the treatment room first and sit them down someplace that's not surrounded by all of the dental related equipment. Sit them down in a consult room or someplace that's a lot more comfortable and let them talk about their fears and what's happened in the past. Here's the natural law, especially as it has to do with fear and emotion. If you deny an emotion, it will fight for survival. If you let it live, it will die. Let me say that again. If you deny an emotion, if you have someone who expresses an emotion and it makes you uncomfortable and you say, oh, just settle down, it's not that big of a deal, just calm down. If you deny that emotion, it will fight for survival. If you let it live, if you let people express their emotion, tell their story, how they feel, and why they feel that way, more often than not, just by the mere fact that you listen, that emotion will fade. Deny an emotion, it will fight for survival. Let it live, and it will die. Understand their story. Understand why they feel the way they feel, and then have a discussion about how you're going to create and write a new story. So for example, I might have a patient who said, I had a horrible experience at this point in my life in the dentist's office, and it was traumatic, and I've been in therapy for 10 years or whatever. Then I might say, Steve, I totally understand that. In fact, what I'd like to do is talk about how we can re-script and create a new story for you to tell yourself that would recreate and give you a pleasant experience. Let's talk about rewriting and writing a brand new story together. But let them talk about it. That's the first step. Here's the next question is, how do you bridge the gap between a patient that has gum disease but only wants a cleaning? Okay, this is really starts back to understanding what people want. So if your focus is doing the exam and doing the cleaning, and your focus is on the clinical, then that is a natural response for people to give is, well, I just want my teeth cleaned. So let me give you an example. This is a patient that we had recently in a practice where we were doing some work, and the patient just said that. He said, I just want my teeth cleaned. I don't want the exam. I don't want the x-rays. I just want my teeth cleaned. Okay, so he's expressed his want. What we need to find is his reasons and his why. So the follow-up question was, it sounds, Steve, like it's very important for you to get your teeth cleaned. Tell me, what is it about having your teeth cleaned that's the most important to you? What is it about that that's most important to you? And he said this. He said, well, I just like the way my teeth feel when they're clean. I hate feeling that fuzzy stuff. And everywhere else I go, I walk in the door and they want to do an exam and they want to do x-rays and they want to do a big treatment plan, and I can't get anyone to just clean my teeth so they feel good. Well, what did he want? He just wanted his teeth to feel clean. So the team's response to that was, great. So why don't we do this? If we can promise you that we will clean your teeth so your teeth will feel good by the time you walk out of here today. Is that what you want? And he said, absolutely. Then they said, great. So here's what we're going to do. Before we make your teeth feel good today, like we've promised, we're going to make sure that we cover the bases. But we'll promise you that you'll have clean feeling teeth before you walk out of here today. Now that's one example. Let's talk about another example where it has to do with gum disease. This might be someone who comes in, they're just wanting their teeth cleaned, But in the early on discussion, again, I like to use the 1 to 10 questions. Is on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is your dental health to you? Well, most people rate that an 8, 9, or 10. The follow-up question then is, how would you rate your current dental health? Most people rate it less than it was for the importance. So let's say they rated their dental health as an 8 or a 9, but they said they rated their current dental health as a 5 or a 6. Then the follow-up question would be, all right, so it's really important to you. You gave your current health a lesser rating. Tell me about that. Tell me about the difference between its importance and how you feel things are going right now. So what is then, we're going to try and close that gap. What's the most important thing to you? I got to find their why. I got to find something in what they say that gives me the fuel to the fire, the why of why they're there. Why did they come get their teeth cleaned? Is it just because they wanted to feel good? Do they want to stay healthy? Do they want to relieve the guilt? If it's health is the reason that they're there, then that becomes a pretty easy discussion to talk about. All right, so you see how cleaning your teeth will help you be healthy. Let's talk about the other things that are going on here that would be very important to know if you want to stay healthy and keep those teeth like you said you wanted to keep them. In other words, it all goes back to what I want and why I want it. If the discussion keeps centering back around the clinical, it's pretty good indication that we've missed the mark with them emotionally. So those are just a couple of suggestions. Here's the next question. How and where do you document this information for follow-up visits? Okay, so here's two suggestions. Those of you that have been through the Total Patient Service Total Immersion course are familiar with our new patient relationship form. We consider it to be one of the core case acceptance tools that you use in the practice. In other words, it's a document that starts getting filled out from the very first phone call that documents their want and their why. And then that becomes a permanent part of their record. So that document follows the new patient from the phone, and then it follows them into the treatment room, and we document their initial want and the why they want it. Now, if you're all digital, then that form can be scanned into your system at the end of the visit, so you got a permanent record of what they originally said they wanted and why they wanted it. And then on subsequent visits, you can continue adding in your chart notes your conversation about what they said they wanted and why they wanted it. So it starts with the new patient relationship form. That is the key to this whole system of finding out what people want and why they want it. You've got to have a system, and you've all heard me talk about systems and how that works. Okay, so those at least are some reminders. Again, what you focus on, the what. Be very careful about what you focus on. Reason is make sure you're identifying what they want and why they want it. So this is it's a whole team effort from the first phone call to when they walk in the door to sitting down in the chair to the doctor visit, hygiene visit. Everybody's got to be plugged in to what that patient wants and why they want it and what their story is. Final action item, couple of suggestions. If you have not read the special report, What Patients Really Want, it is required Crown Council reading. You can request that special report by emailing answers@totalpatientservice.com and just request What Patients Really Want special report. We will email that to you. It is packed with additional information on staying focused on what people want and why they want it. Suggestion number 2, and I highly recommend this, in case this has slipped off your radar in some way, shape, or form, the Total Immersion experience that we provide through the Total Patient Service Institute is required training for every Crown Council practice. I can't think of anybody who does not benefit from going through the total immersion experience, where we focus on what patients want and why they want it, and then how to get that information, how to use it to dramatically boost your case acceptance. You can go to totalpatientservice.com, and the dates and locations for next year are posted there. Questions for our team regarding the course, you can call 877-399-8677. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for all your questions, too. And we hope that that reminder today of why case presentations fail, staying focused on what patients want and why they want it, helps you and your entire team move forward to provide more quality treatment to the patients that come into your practice every day. Thanks for joining us today. Again, this will be posted at crowncouncil.org later today if you'd like to share with the rest of your team. Have a successful day, and we'll hope you join us for our next Crown Council webinar coming up in January. Stay tuned. Have a super day, everybody. Thanks for joining us.